Sadgurunath Maharaj ki jai. Mahayogi Swami Radhikananda Saraswati ki jai. Today I am going to talk about something very interesting. I somehow am discovering some very new concepts here every time I'm reading these books. I'm going to talk about Adnyan, ignorance, Vidnyan, science-related knowledge, and Jnana, pure knowledge. So I'm going to talk about these three issues today. There is also one more word which is used is tamasi Jnana. That is something which is backed by a non-discriminating capacity. But we will come to it gradually and late afterwards. First, we will talk about we will take an example where these three concepts, that is knowledge, ignorance, and pure knowledge, all these three are crystal clear to us. First, we'll take an example. When we before we want to hold a mirror or look into the mirror, we want to, we wonder whether we are in a good position or not, or a good status or not. So we want to look into something to clarify the doubts whether you are presentable or not. So the earlier situation was a situation of ignorance. Jnanadev calls it ignorance. And this ignorance is now superseded by the help of a mirror. Let's say we take the mirror in the hand and we look into the mirror, and now we are quite satisfied with our appearance or the looks, and we decide that yes, I am presentable, or whatever you call it. So this is knowledge, but it is based on Vidnyan. It is based on an external source, which is either a mirror, or you are looking into the mirror, the use of the sense organ. Along with the sense organ, you are also using the intellect backed by it. So we are using some other forces around with us, within us, in order to see ourselves in the mirror. So we are using external sources, and therefore we will call it Vidnyan-based knowledge. Now this knowledge also is, by Jnanadev says, it's not complete knowledge. We cannot call it false, but we cannot call it the total true knowledge, pure knowledge. Now, where is the pure knowledge? How does it step in? You remove the mirror after you are comfortable that you are okay, you are presentable, and you remove the mirror, and then suddenly you will realize that even without the mirror, now you are confident enough about your appearance, because now you know that you are looking presentable. So we have three stages here. First stage was when before we looked into it, we were not sure of our appearance. Second, we looked into it, we felt comfortable because we could see ourselves with the help of the scientific knowledge. And third, after removing the media also, we were able to still understand and be sure of our appearance. So the third is supposed to be Sat. The second, looking into the mirror, was Chit, an awareness. Now there is another thing. In Chit we find the bliss, because normally most of us are very happy. We would like to see ourselves in the mirror, and therefore we feel happy about it, and we would like to see ourselves in the mirror. That the mirror is now symbolically, we are going to change the presentation of the mirror, or we are going to take some other aspects as mirror. But right now, to understand this example, we will call it that it's a mirror. The mirror that we are using. So we are able to see ourselves. But our mind is so sure that the image in the mirror is not you and it is not me itself. We are sure of it. Now, tamasi jnana comes in when they are not able to discriminate between that which is in the mirror and the one that is outside. Tamasi jnana is not able to discriminate between the right and the wrong image. We have an example of that. We have those who have seen Enter the Dragon. Sorry, I'm coming to movies. But Enter the Dragon, in the end, he sees too many people in the mirror. He sees in a mirror, and every time he breaks a mirror, he thinks it is him. So this is a false imagination which is hyped. Similarly, it was in the case of Ravana. His real actual head was not realized because they were so similar in appearance. So something like that, which is deluding, that is called tamasi jnana. Now we know what is jnana, that is sat we know, that is without the mirror, without the help of seeing ourselves, we still know that we exist, but we are not able to see how we exist. And since seeing is important, the projection becomes a very important aspect of our life. The projection is a very important aspect of our life. Now, when we consider any, as I had earlier said also, last time also we talked about this, that MIT dais was probably a dais for me to project myself so I could see myself in my best of the colors. Let's say, we are just taking an example. So when we need to present ourselves, we are at our best self. And it gives us joy to see ourselves. Now, do you think I will be probably going there to see that the people there around who are not enlightened should be enlightened with what I say? I may not be concerned so much about it, unless it's some sort of a social service where my help is going to truly make difference to the people in life. But for those people who are going to hear and decide whether they would like to make use of it or not, there I'm not in a position to serve them. There I'm in a position only to express what best I know. But the idea is that I would like to express myself in the best manner. So therefore, my desire to be there on the MIT is like MIT is a mirror for me. And therefore, I'm able to see it. Now, similarly, all of us, we would like to see ourselves in the best of our forms. And that is only possible when, Shirali, I'm glad I can see you all now. Very good. Where's Nina? Is she around you? The mic, you have to unmute the mic. Yes. She's there?
No, she is watching at home.
She's watching at home. Oh, I'm glad. Very good, very good. Yeah. So anyway, so we were thinking of the dais which God has given himself. He has given the world as his own dais. And on that dais, he wants to know, God wants to know, whether I wouldn't say whether he's at his best, but he would like to see his best self. And therefore, most of us, when we turn to help, he answers those prayers. Because it's finally is going to tell about him. Of course, it's not the selfish purpose, it's for us to understand the entire, probably the application of Jnana, Vijnana and Ajnana. I'm using these concepts. Now, Gyandev has introduced a very new concept which I would like to now introduce to you all. And he wants to say that the moment you become knowledgeable, it's a very simple thing. The example we got is very easy. The moment you feel you are knowledgeable, remember the knowledge which was based on science, that image of yours and you have merged as one. The image in the mirror and you have merged into it. That image has merged into you. So Gyandev says in a realized state of man, probably, now we don't know, that vision, so the seen and the seer become one. We can understand this. The seen and the seer. What was seen? I was seeing myself in the mirror. What happened when I removed the mirror? The image got merged in me. So the seer, that is me, and the seen, that was the figure which was seen in the mirror, they got merged. So can you apply the same to, what can we apply this to? Can we hear, or he has gone too far, Gyandev has tried to tell us how the flower and the nose, which it smells, could be the same, which of course, for us, logically, it will not be, but we will not be able to identify. So I will give you another simpler example where you can identify with it. Suppose you take cup and you pour tea. You tend to call the cup of tea only the word you use, tea. You don't see cup. I'll say I want tea. Shaka, I want tea, or Milinda, I want tea. So we will say, I want tea. We won't say, I want a cup and with tea in it. No, we won't differentiate it. Similarly, something, Gyandev is very sure that the seer and the seen, if can become one, the knower and the known can be one, the seer and the listener and the subject of the can be one. So, but he goes to an extent that nose can be like a flower, the flower can be like a nose, which is not very easy. But the hearer can be his ear can be the hearer. The ear itself, it's supposed to hear something else, but it can hear itself, says Jnana. It can hear itself. Now, we are very close to understanding when we say the image merges in us, and we know it is. But enlightened state, we still need to probably have simpler examples for it. So Gyandev says there are 5 ways of trying to procure knowledge. Earlier, when I had come to USA, I had talked about developing virtues so that we can definitely, we can definitely acquire a knowledgeable state in our life. I had talked about the various virtues which can be developed. And if you really truly work on one of the virtues in you, then maybe, yes. One of the virtues I have realized, which is very important for knowledge to be practically entered into your life, is non-doer mentality. The moment you are able to do some work, give the credit of it to the ultimate source, the universal energy. Of course, you feel very happy. Let happiness be your credit if you want. But the actual credit, the more you start practicing, yes, you trace it back to the giver or somebody else. Like Nandi used to say, "Tumi bolavita mi bolena." So when you make me speak, I shall speak. So the moment you allow me to speak or you voice through me, I shall be able to speak. So something which is, it's not false modesty. It's a fact. The moment you agree totally with this fact, you can end up becoming the most knowledgeable person in the world. Now, before we go to the types of how to procure knowledge, you would also like to know what is blind knowledge, andhagnan. What is blind knowledge? Today we are going to only talk about knowledge. So what is andhagnan? What is blind knowledge? So he says, for example, God, you see caste. Let's say we see caste as far as God is concerned. God is a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian. So this seeing itself is, Gyandev says, is blind knowledge. It's andhajnan. It's andhajnan. So the God who is an indweller in all. He dwells in you as yourself. He dwells in me as myself. He dwells in you as yourself. So obviously, he cannot be differentiated from one to the other. He cannot change his forms with people in him. So that is one thing which is called as the blind knowledge. We had realized what is Adnan. Adnan was you are not sure of how you look, so you want a mirror and you want to see. So you are in a state where you are going to move towards Jnana. But andhajnan is you are stuck. You are stuck with certain concepts. You are not thinking that you are going to change it. You are not asking that I am thinking, so I am sure it is wrong. I would like to. No. Ajnan, knowledge makes Ajnan incomplete. And therefore you go in search of knowledge. Because you feel incomplete about knowing. Here when the person says God is so and so different in everybody, he is already convinced about it. So he doesn't feel he is wrong. So if he doesn't feel he is wrong, he is not going to try and find improving situations in his life. He is not going to find improving situations in his life. So andhajnan is something where a person decidedly accepts a certain wrong concept and he remains, he remains stuck to it. Now there is another one, Nandi talks about adhikar, the right to knowledge. So he says it is like, let's say, how very beautiful he has given this. Just as the rains, they form clouds. This particular Chaitanya, that is the energy of Lord or immortal principle, starts finding forms and multiplies. Like rain finds clouds to present itself in the form of clouds. Like that, this particular Chetana tries to acquire various forms, and that amongst those multiple forms, you, me, all exist. We all come into that category. Now, there is another thing very beautifully put forward by Gnandev, is Chetana. He says the energy, had it been there with the, in the, let's say we are using the eyes to see the image in the mirror, but if the very Chetana is not there, is missing, then obviously the eyes are not going to carry on the function of seeing. So for Jnana, you must have Chetana, which is consciousness, awareness. So awareness is there. It was there even without the mirror before you saw into the mirror. After you saw in the mirror, it became more obvious. You were able to see yourself in a duplicate form, a double form. And then you, without the mirror, you were able to see again. That also was a picture of what you had already seen and you were sure of it now. So there are various types of knowledge. There are shades of knowledge. There are shades of knowledge. The final one was when you remove the mirror and you still feel that you have, not only that, you have to be one with the image. So the seer and the seen, when they become one, which we became, so we can understand the concept. It's not difficult for us. It is very difficult for us to hear, becoming the hearer, listener of the ear itself. That's a difficult concept. But the eyes, without seeing, were able to see. The seer and the seen had become one. We were able to see. The cup and the tea, they have become one. We are able to still call, give me just give me tea, we say. And of course, nobody is going to give you tea without a cup. They're going to use a cup. It is, what do you call it? It is how do you put the word? What is the word behind it? Is indicated. Am I right?
It's implied.
Implied. Thank you. It is implied that it already exists. Or there might be a second thing which may be, we are probably trying to see the functional aspect of it when we move away from the reality. The functional aspect is what we are probably looking into. T is a functional aspect. The image is a functional aspect. It is a result. It's a result of seeing. It's a result of seeing. So probably the functional is a science, knowledge-based, science-based knowledge, and the non-functional, without into action. So being and doing, and being and seeing. Last time you were referring to doing, Vishakha. So last time you talked about doing, and we had stopped with the word seeing. So now here we know doing and seeing probably both come under the category, and so therefore being, seeing and doing. Therefore the first three English words is I have, I do and I am. I am, I have and I do. To do, to be and to have. These are the three main words in which we start our learning our English lessons. Now he goes further. When Jnandev goes further and he says how to. Before that, Thomas and we have decided. Now he wants to tell you about how to attain this knowledge. How to attain this knowledge. Now we have realized what was the knowledge we are talking about. Seeing ourselves without a mirror. That is the existence part of it. But also knowing that if you see it through science, it's going to give you an additional, what will, joy. So we are not free. We cannot just be. We have to be of some use to somebody somewhere. Just being may not be enough. Just being for ourselves is not enough. And therefore, all of us are driven towards doing something where that being is valued. Our being has to be valued by somebody. And in that they have given us, Jnandev has decided, they suggested 5 methods by which you can acquire knowledge. By which you can acquire knowledge. The first one, he says, is surrender to any enlightened soul. Now, surrender doesn't mean that you have to go and lie flat on your feet or on your back, stomach and put your head down and all. No, surrender is, there will be a continuous suggestion coming your way. Try to follow that as long as you can, as much as you can, without much doubt, and without much questioning right now, till proved wrong, till proved wrong. Till the master proves wrong, follow him. If at all he proves wrong, you have every right to step back. I would like to tell one or two, three small stories because they're very important. They will act as a service to the great saints we talk about, and as well as get their blessings, as well as leave some very deep marks on our mind. It is regarding Guru Charitra. And in Guru Charitra, there were 3 students who had their 3 different masters. Each master trained the student for a particular reason. One of the students was a very greedy person and he would love to eat all the time and all the time and all the time. So this master decided to send him out and ask him to bring whatever he earns out of Bhiksha to be brought back to him. Every time he goes out, he brings whatever he gets, he comes and gives it. He doesn't eat. But second time when he goes, the people, his fate is so that people start giving him second time. So the master says, you are getting it, you're still not becoming thinner, you're still becoming fat. So that means you're eating without my permission. He says, no, they give me again. So he said, give that also back to me. So he starts giving that also. Then he feels hungry. One day he goes and he tries to sit under a tree, falls somewhere and he falls under a tree. And the tree has this milk sort of a thing oozing out of the leaves. So he satisfies, he quenches his thirst and hunger because of that. Unfortunately, it goes into his eyes and he gets blinded. And of course, the master comes to rescue him and all. It's a long story. Another one is trying, he's asked to bring, supply water to the fields of the Guru. Now imagine, you will say, my God, for knowledge, a person goes to knowledge and the Shishya, the disciple, is only asked to work hard for the master. Is it right? So, of course, let's not say all masters could be that great. But suppose you get luckily a great person and he may not be asking you to study. Because I told you the other day when we developed the virtues, we talked about the virtues, that the more you develop the virtues in you, one of the virtues is devotion to Guru. Within 30 seconds, you can be totally enlightened. Within 30 seconds, what is this actual understanding of enlightenment? That you are yourself Shiva. For that, you don't probably need texts. So something else is required. But of course, we decide to go away because we love to work hard and show that we want to work hard. Whatever it is, surrender to the enlightened master because they are supposed to be the house of knowledge. It's Jnandev has put it beautifully, and Jnandev depended upon Nivrittinath or highlighted Nivrittinath's activities because at that time when the society needed a knowledge which would take them to liberation, was given to him in the hands by Nivrittinath that was called Shankari Vidya. It was handed over to him and it was shown to Jnandev that it can be immersed in every individual and every individual could be liberated. So such sort of a knowledge which was given to him and the boy of 6 to 8, he had placed Nivrittinath at the highest pedestal. So he automatically had accepted and his philosophy led him to an enlightened state. Had it not led him there, all his accepted philosophy would have considered as a useless philosophy. But since it led him to the enlightened state, people have started accepting his teachings. Second way, they have said that you can do it. All these are there in the form of couplets in Dnyaneshwar. This is what I'm talking to you now is the 4th chapter. The earlier was in chapter 4. The second one I'm talking about is again in chapter 4. So here he says you have to control your sense organs. Now, obviously, control means it is not that you have eyes and you don't see, you have ears and you don't hear. No, you have to try and don't let them indulge into too much unwanted, unseen, unneeded, not needed knowledge or things around you in the world, and just use it barely for your basic needs. Of course, gaining knowledge, studying and all comes under not basic, it is more than that. We all need to study. So studies and all is there. But basically they have said control your sense organs. Mostly they are things like don't talk extra, or don't eat extra, or don't fight extra, or don't curse anybody. So all the negativity of this thing we need to cut. So let's say we can start with one of them. I told you we can develop any one of them. So controlling of all these sense on knowledge organs should be tried. Third, they have given, Nandip says, organize, try to learn about yourself. Use these organs, but in order to study yourself. You use the organs because earlier I had told you like sea and rain, or rays and sun. Earlier, last time I gave this example that you follow the rays and you end up with the sun. You follow the light and you go up to the lamp. You hold the lamp and you get the light. Similarly, you study yourself and you end up into the knowing the universe. Because we are connected. Because we are connected. Because we stay connected. Because we stay connected. So we need to study ourselves. So use your organs. You have to use your organs. You have to use your eyes, but to close them and learn about yourself. You have to hear, but to hear the internal astral nad, we call it, nad. There are about 10 to 12 types of nad. We need to hear them. Of course, if you try to even plug your ears like these and try to hear, you will start on hearing, listening to various notes. At least make it a habit. Of course, this is not like the ringing of the ears in some cases where the hearing becomes difficult. That is not nad. That is some sort of an illness. So that is not what is appreciated here. But it is like, it is so said that you can hear a bell, you can hear a flute, you can hear astral notes, you can hear the mantras, you can hear intuitive knowledge, you can start forming and composing songs. All this is a part of listening to the sound, which is not made. Which is not made. When you clap your hands, the nad is this is a clap. But without clapping, if there is a sound, that is a nad. So that is the nad that you need to hear. So use your organs. It's not that you don't use your organs, but the second condition Nandip says is use your organs, but to study yourself. So that's a very important suggestion which is given to us. And then what is the result if you study yourself? What is it which is going to come to you? We have someone else joining us also. So what is it which gives you this? So it has brought you another very beautiful concept has been introduced to you because of your study of yourself, and that is the sprouting of peace. The peace is said to sprout. Actually, the word sprout is beautiful. Ankurit is the word which is used. Sprouted. Can you imagine peace sprouting? And it's a very classy example, a word description used. It's of a very high standard. Yes, that you are the peace sprouts in your life. Now, what happens to this sprout? It doesn't remain. It becomes unlimited. Unlimited. It starts becoming unlimited. And it goes to such an extent that you start anything around. Right now, that is something which I am probably experiencing by the grace of God. That if there is somewhere I need a peace in some form for myself, and with a little prayer and a little attention to it and a little thought developed, that thing starts emerging. That thing starts happening. Something starts getting back to normalcy. Whether it is a difficult situation, whether it is a fight on the streets, whether it is a confused mind in me, whether you call it any sort of a conflicting situation, it starts getting back into normalcy. Now, this is because of you starting to study yourself. And I'm sure a person with logic will realize and be able to connect the two. Connect the two. Then there is one more upay. Upay is one more method of trying to gain knowledge, and that is burn all the objects of senses in you. Now, of course, you don't have to go and burn things, actually. Just keep it aside for a day. Suppose you are very, very fond of chocolates, let's say. I mean, it's a small example. I mean, at least for one day, if you can keep it aside. That was the actual practice of the fasting, which it is normally there in all communities have fasting. This is one of the major programs in spiritual path. So they fast. The idea is to keep aside a certain thing for a long time. Why? What is the reason for that? Mind craves for it. Yes, let it crave. Don't give it. Don't you tell the children they are craving for chocolates or they are craving for them. We are not going to give them because it's not good for them. Exactly. Even it is not good for us. Some of the things, if we voluntarily keep aside, there is something known as the frustrating heat which is born. And this heat helps to burn the unwanted impurities in the body. In some way create heat, not the heat which is burning the gas outside. No, not that heat. The heat of resistance in your body and stopping you from taking whatever is materially there for you. Don't take it. For some time, for a day, for 2 days, for 3 days. You're craving to meet somebody. All right. And you postpone it just for 1 day. For the next day. No, I'll die. Try it out. If you can, just 1 day more, just 1 day, if you can avoid even spending money, going out for a lovely movie or something. If not today, can we go tomorrow? Okay, try it slowly and slowly try it and see whether you can control, because that's going to create an unknowingly, it might be a very light temperature, like a heat thing which will grow into you because it's a frustration. You're trying to stop your mind. So it's going to create some sort of heat. Not that it's going to create a temperature, body temperature, but it's going to create some sort of a heat. This is Rudragni or Yogagni, whatever you call it, and it is also compared with the Agni of the Kundalini. So a resistance is created in your body, in your mind, and this resistance is going to burn the impurities in your body. My Gurudev used to say, suppose we developed cough or cold or something, she used to say, please don't come close and share it with me. As you sit and meditate, create the heat in your body and see that it is dissolved. Yes, if you meditate to such an extent that the heat in the body is increased, it is bound to destroy all the impurities in the body and obviously even the infection. But the heat I'm also talking about can be even developed by resisting yourself with all the temptations and keeping it away. The greater the resistance, the greater the subjects you keep aside, and the greater the resistance you apply, the purer your body will one day start radiating light, because it has become warm from it. Is not like hot. Doctor's not going to check and say you've got temperature. No. It will say, how come your face is shining? Face is shining. Because you have not taken everything that you have liked. You've decided, I'll take 2 out of 5. 3, I'm going to decide it, willingly give it away. Is that Nina I'm seeing? Who else is there? Okay. So I'm going to give away something which is very dear to me. So let us try it, because if we know the purpose behind it, I'm sure resistance will not be so difficult. If you feel that by stopping yourself from doing an activity which you like, and you are going to create some sort of an unknown heat in your body, but that heat is going to help you to become purer and more beautiful, then I think it will be easier to resist some temptations. And this is what is practiced. Pratyahar and all we say, the words sound, but if you know the purpose, it's not just stopping of not having something. No. We need to follow the result of it. So if you are avoiding certain things, then what? Then obviously you are going to resist, and therefore there's going to be a resistive friction heat. Frictional heat, you can call it. That frictional heat is going to help you to shine and luster. Like a luster, radiant person, you will start radiating. And of course, the fifth, that D, that is performing of sadhana. People love, some of them are very comfortable performing sadhana. For some, it is difficult. So we give them a choice. Either you do sadhana, or you do seva, or you do dan. Whatever is easy for you. One of the two, one of the three. One of the three. Sometimes I prefer doing sadhana. Now my knowledge, if I suppose I study and then I go to a school or college or something, and then I don't get a chance to speak, I said, okay, it doesn't matter. I've done my seva. If I go there and I speak, and then suppose they don't offer anything, then I say, okay, that's done. So I've done my done. So sadhana, yes, when you study and you're not allowed to speak about it, you have studied and you want to tell. But suppose somebody says, no, today we don't have time to hear you, so we'll make it next time. So that day I've just done my sadhana. Seva, sadhana, dan can even be related to the knowledge aspect of it. But not for convenience. If you have money, then donate. If you don't have money, then do something else. Serve or seva or whatever it is. But perform some sort of an austerity. And austerity should make you slightly uncomfortable, but pleasantly uncomfortable. You should be happy about it. Austerity does not be a punishment. It's not a punishment. It is a voluntary job, performing austerity. You are willing to do it on your own, but you are trying to make the person who is picking up dumbbells of 15 kg now wants to try and pick up dumbbells of 20 kg. So on his own, he's improving. On his own, he's trying. He's not being forced to do it. That is austerity. So that austerity is one of the ways you can still acquire knowledge. Okay, so today we have talked about various fields of knowledge, and I think so there are many other topics I would like to cover, but today I decided that I should talk about knowledge because we wanted to talk about, we had also located ignorance. Now, one very beautiful thing he says, if Atma is a soul existing in entire, every individual self, and Atma means pure knowledge, then how can ignorance exist? So Gnandev says there is nothing like ignorance in the world which exists. This is a very strange vakya. It is a strange vakya. It's a strange statement. How can ignorance not exist? This is how can it exist? Because if the entire universe, every bit of the universe is filled with Atma, the soul, and Atma is pure knowledge, then how can there be? Because can knowledge, if there was ignorance, at least to know that that is ignorant, that was ignorance, then what is so, how will we trace ignorance if you cannot see, if God says that it doesn't exist? Through actions, we can know that person has been ignorant. So it is only lack of knowledge that it is ignorant. Now, there is a very beautiful example I would like to give, and then we will end today's session. Everything starts changing in the world. I had told you, the mortal changes to immortal, immortal to mortal, mortal to immortal, immortal to mortal, and this gives the world a continuous picture, a picture of continuity. We have seen that, we have understood. Last time we saw the sea and the rain coming together. They will keep on evaporating and becoming sea, and then rain again, and sea and rain again. So we know that the entire world, there is something which is happening like a cycle. It's going on and on and on. Now there is something which is now going to end. I had told you that the river ends and then suddenly it appears as sea. So there is no perishability. There is no perishability and there is no ignorance. So what happens to ignorance? Ignorance dies, or was it there? No. To curb the ignorance, the words decide to fight. The words say, no, I'm going to see that this ignorance is totally destroyed. And in the process, the words enter into debates, into philosophical thoughts. It changes its forms continuously it changes itself. And finally, even that dies. We are not going to use the word dies because death is not there. There is nothing which dies. We are doing it right now to understand how word death is of no use. Then what happens to the philosophic talk? It changes into it dies, of course, it ends and finally tapers into what? It tapers into an enlightened person. First, there was an ignorant person, then the words decided to come into his life, and the words decided to chat and chat and chat and chat. And then they decided to take up a debatable stand. Then they entered into a philosophic talk. And the philosophy also comes to an end when the person gets enlightened. The moment the person gets enlightened, what happens? What happens? As I told you, that image in the mirror and the Sat, the existing personality outside, they merge. They merge. So similarly, when the philosophy ends and it terminates as an enlightened man, philosophy doesn't die. Philosophy of Shankaracharya ended with Shankaracharya as a person to be remembered. Philosophy of Jnanadev is now remembered as Jnanadev himself. So it takes a form. And what about the form? Does that form remain? Yes. The form remains in such a way that for him, the world and he are no subject and object. They are subject alone. Just like this Sat, the person without the mirror, now was completely by himself itself. There was no image there. There was no ignorance there. There was no now knowing and seeing, so there was no knowledge based on science there. There was pure knowledge, and therefore there was no duality there at all. There was no two. There was no stage required. So when you get enlightened, for us, the world will come to an end as a sub-object for us. You yourself will be the world. I mean, it's strange, but just we can imagine the cup and the tea. It is just tea alone. The mirror image and the person is one again. So I don't think we are it's easier. Now, I just give you another very beautiful example. Today, people came from Bombay to me that you were sitting and talking. I was trying to make it simpler for them. I said, let's take this example. The child grows into a young boy. The child does not die. He lives now as a young boy. Then he grows into a man. He lives as a man. He lives as an old man. So there is a change. Similarly, there is a continuous change, and between mortal and immortal, this change is continuous. Therefore, there is a picture. The picture appears as if it is an immortality which is going on. Actually, there is nothing perishable and there is nothing non-perishable. There is nothing imperishable and there is nothing perishable. Even Brahma is said to have a perishable type. But we cannot feel it when the continuation is non-stop. So as far as Jnanadev is concerned, Amrutanubhav is his basic philosophy. We talked about a couple of things. First thing we realized what? A guru is actually an incarnation of the immortality on earth. Then we realized, which was sea and rain exchange, the mortal and immortal exchange. Then we came to the concept of 0, 1 and 1, 0. I think I touched it last time, am I right? 0, 1 and 1, 0. That was a very beautiful thought. Whether that 0 is in front or afterwards, it still has its own beautiful result. As a stone, when it is there, lakhs of people will go to Pandharpur. Pandhari is nothing but a stone, a god of stone. It's a 0. Stone is like 0 representation. Then we came to this Jnana, Ajnana and Vijnana. This is a very easy way of doing it. And then we decided how things change. When they change, they just get transformed and they live as something else. The child lives now as a younger boy now lives like a man, the man lives like an old man. So this continues to go. So therefore, there is very little bit of perishability and there is more of immortality everywhere in the world, or there is a change. So changeless principle and immortal principle, these are the two very same, they are the two sides of the same coin. And they are called Shiva Shakti by Santani. Today we will stop here. We have talked about knowledge. And there is a little more about knowledge I would like to discuss later. But today we try to see the 5 ways of learning about knowledge. Use your organs, but use to discover yourself. Because the day you discover yourself, you will be discovering the ultimate. So, any questions? Who all are with me? Any questions? Rali? Okay, now unmute your mics, please. Vishakha, your mic is unmute. Unmute.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Any
everybody ask, share. You can also share your experiences of attending here, because that also people will see and they will get encouraged to join us more and more. So
please.
to start with, I'm really happy that we are doing this. It was my deep desire that I get to connect with Swamiji on a regular basis, and that has been on my mind for over 2 years now.
Good, you gave us a lead. I'm glad.
We are doing it, and I'm extremely happy about it. And it also, I have realized that last week and the week before that, when we have this session in the morning, immediately afterwards I have a session, my session with parents, and I can see the impact of being with you. It completely, that whole inspiration expresses very well in whatever I am doing. So it's a beautiful thing. This
so glad. Thank you.
I just have one suggestion, if we can do. This time it was my mistake. I didn't realize I would be outside whole day, so didn't create the link earlier. But if you can specify the topic that you're going to be talking on,
yes,
the day, then along with our link we can just give a small brief, like maybe just 2-line explanation about what topic we are going to talk about.
okay. So I will inform you 2 days prior to that what topic we are doing.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
I will know, and that kind of creates like a looking forward to what we are going to hear from you.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yes. What about you, Milind?
That was good. Yeah, I was going to ask you a question about, when the subject, when the knower and the known merge, Dnyaneshwar talks about the process of seeing is just occurring. So what is that in the individual, that process of just seeing? How's that? It's go ahead.
Yes. See, whenever you are presenting yourself, your existing is different, but you are applying your existence for something, for a cause. So it becomes more functional. And when you are functional, you would like to also see it. And that see is given to you by the stage which is given to you. The world is like a stage on which you are seeing yourself. Being yourself as a doctor and seeing yourself as a doctor, that seeing gives you more joy. It's like joy being enjoyed. Have I got your question right? Or?
Yes. Yeah. So the experience for the individual is one of just seeing, but everything is the subject.
Yes. You are the subject.
You're the subject, and what you're seeing is the subject.
Yes. Actually, you are seeing yourself, aren't you?
Right.
So the seer and the seen, when they become one, that is called enlightenment. Now, even you apply it when you are meditating, Milind. If you meditate yourself and you call yourself that breath, you call yourself as if you are that breath, and you start giving instructions to the breath. See, go right, go left, go up, and go come down. And you will start seeing how you interchange this state. Say, he becomes a seer and you are the seen. He becomes a hearer and you are the speaker, person who speaks. Try it, just try it.
Yeah.
Try it. Now, instead of having an MIT outside for me, I'm going to have an MIT within myself, So it's going to give me trying closer and closer, those two will be, and they'll be meeting. Try it. This is an actually aham and idam. This is the meditational secrets. If you concentrate on aham, that is I, and idam, that is that. I am that. So this distance is there, whatever little it is of the thought process. I am that. That is me. I am that. That is me. And this slowly, we have done Vignan better with you. 4321, 321, 2131, and that's very beautiful. I read your whole book again. Vishaka, I want you to read one of Millen's books, Journey to Zero. It's very beautifully done. I read the whole book recently, just 2 days back. Ina, talk to me. I can see you. Okay. What about you? Shirali, unmute your question. Unmute your mic. You have to unmute your mic. Unmute. No. Yes, now I can hear you.
Yeah.
Very good. I can see Nina, but she's not moving. Is she there? I can see her. Must be just listening. Anyway, we had a good session today. But any other topic you want me to talk about? There are 147 topics in Dnyaneshwari.
Actually,
I would like to take some of them, like this Dhyan we took. Another one I would like to take was what is Bhakti, what is Karma. These are few of the outstanding topics of it, which need to be talked about. So we understand the application. Like today we realize Pratyahar is what is Pratyahar. Use your sense organs, but to discover yourself.
that was very powerful. Actually,
That's
powerful.
That's what I said.
Also,
Something very
about topics. Every time you speak, at least I can see 15-20 thoughts come to my mind that, okay, I must ask you to talk about this and that. So,
so let me know. Let me know. It needs a lot of churning to bring the butter up. So
yeah,
we'll do it.
like you spoke about Shankari Vidya. So if someday we can understand about different kinds, like what are other Vidyas and how is the spread.
There are actually 16 Vidyas. 16 of them. 16, Sola Vidya. But we will, right now the Shankara Vidya is something which Nandi was very, and the beauty of it was he calls it a very compassionate field of knowledge. Because it is easily available to all, it emerges from everyone and it takes everyone to liberation. That is why he took to it. Now sometimes we all have, various knowledges don't come to us so easily. A common person is not able to attain. Here they didn't require any degrees. The Shankari Vidya doesn't require any degree. It doesn't require any basic education. It can take any individual and train that person to become somebody great.
Actually,
that is the beauty of Shankari Vidya.
It is so interesting that now I understand why my Guruji used to be the way he was, because all this understanding or technicalities were not known to me. So it was, that compassion is something, like knowledge is not devoid of compassion.
Yes.
Otherwise it sounds very dry and disconnected, but actually it is extremely connected.
Knowledge is the most intoxicating drink.
That point, that compassion.
More intoxicating than beer.
It's a different spirit.
It's a different spirit. And it is spirit.
Yes.
It is spirit. Okay.
Yes.
So, yeah, should we stop here? Any other question?
Unless anybody has any other things. Do you have anything to ask, share? You can unmute your mic and speak.
Okay. So we'll stop here. Okay.
Yeah, this is my first time. Thank you so much.
Okay. Who is it? Let me hear you. Let me see you.
Sai, this is Tejaswini.
तेजा कुठेच तुम्हाला दिसत नाहीये?
Me actually.
Doesn't matter. It's okay. It's okay. I heard you. I heard
Yes.
you. Yeah.
Thank you, Kai. This was my first time attending the session, and I think I got a little late, but it was nice. Whatever I could gain from it.
Why don't you complete it with Pasaidan? Why don't you sing Pasaidan? We all will be blessed.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, good. So let's hear Pasaidan.
Namaskar, Jagdish here, joining late.
Okay,
But
nice.
I heard you. Thank you.
Okay, I'm so glad. So let Tejaswini come up with your song.
Yes. आता विश्वात्मके देवे येणे भाग्यज्ञे तोषावे तोषो निमज द्यावे पसाय दानहे जे खळांची व्यंकटी सांडो तया सत्कर्मी रती वाढो भूता परस्परी जडो मैत्र जीवांचे दुरितांचे तिमिर जाओ विश्वस्वधर्म सूर्ये पाहो जो जे वांशील तो तेला हो प्राणी जात वर्षत सकळ मंगळी ईश्वर निष्ठांची मांदियाळी अनवर्त भूमंडळी भेट तू भूता चला कल्पतरूंचे आरव चेतना चिंतामणीचे गाव बोलते जे अर्णव पियुषांचे चंद्रमे जे अलांछन मार्तंड जे तापहीन ते सर्वाधी सदा सज्जन सोय रे हो तू किंबहुना सर्वसुखी पूर्ण होनी तिहि लोकी भजिजो आदि पुरुषी अखंडित आणि ग्रंथोपजीविये विशेषी लोकीये दृष्टा दृष्ट विजये होआवे जी येथ म्हणे श्री विश्वेश्वराओ हा होईल दान पसाओ येणे वरी ज्ञान देवो सुखिया झाला सुखिया झाला. Excuse my voice, but thank you.
Okay, so very good. We'll meet next Sunday again.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Please send it on video, YouTube. Thank you.
Start at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time and 7 o'clock evening in India. So if we can, everybody joins on time, then everybody will be able to enjoy the whole process. So some of you join later.
Now next time what I need to do is just send them the ID number. Am I right?
What message I am sending, the whole message you send to them. The first top is the link. So you just click on that link, you get into the class.
Okay. I'll just call her. I need to have one more session with her. Anyway.
This week, coming week, I am a little busy because Thursday onwards, we are going to go for a retreat. But once after that, we will do similar session and we will